Imagine waking up to flashing police lights in your driveway, your morning coffee turning bitter as you realize your nosy neighbor has weaponized the law against you for the crime of existing. That's exactly how my day started in the supposedly idyllic suburb of Oak Ridge Meadows, where the air smells of fresh-cut grass and unspoken resentment. I stood there, barefoot and bewildered, watching the HOA queen bee across the street smirk like she just checkmated me in a game I never agreed to play. Let me paint the picture for you. It was 7:15 a.m., the kind of crisp autumn morning where the leaves crunch underfoot and the world feels full of promise. Unless you're me, Alex Rivera, 52, a former IT consultant who traded corporate cubicles for a quiet retirement plot. I'd bought this half-acre slice of American dream 6 months prior. Cash in hand, deed spotless, dreaming of turning the old shed into a home office where I could tinker with code and sip whiskey without a boss breathing down my neck. But Oak Ridge Meadows? Oh, it's one of those places where community is code for conformity, enforced by the iron fist of the Homeowners Association. And at the helm was Karen Whitaker, Ms. Whitaker, as she insisted everyone call her, the self-anointed guardian of curb appeal and moral superiority. Karen was the epitome of suburban satire. Mid-50s, peroxide blonde bob haircut sharper than her tongue, always in pastel cardigans that screamed, "I'm approachable," while her eyes said, "Cross me and I'll bury you in paperwork." She'd been HOA president for a decade, ruling with a smile that could curdle milk. We're all about preserving property values. She'd coo at meetings, but everyone knew it was about preserving her ego. Rumors swirled that she'd once fined a family $500 for a bird feeder that attracted unsightly wildlife. You know, birds. But me, I wasn't even supposed to be under her thumb. My land was just outside the HOA boundary, confirmed by surveys I double-checked like a paranoid conspiracy theorist. Yet, somehow, between escrow and my moving truck pulling up, the HOA had corrected the maps at the county office. Poof! My property was annexed. No vote, no notice, just a sneaky filing that smelled like fresh-baked fraud. The first sign of trouble hit like a paper cut. A certified letter in week 1, fining me $200 for an unapproved exterior modification. The offense? My existing fence, which had stood there since the Nixon administration. I chuckled at first, thinking it was a mix-up. Must be a clerical error, I muttered, tossing it aside. But Karen didn't do errors. She did vendettas. By week 2, she was at my door, clipboard in one hand, smartphone in the other, snapping pics of my yard like a tabloid paparazzo. "Mr. Rivera," she said, her voice dripping with faux concern. "We have standards here. That fence is non-compliant with Section 4.2 of the covenants. It disrupts the aesthetic harmony." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. Aesthetic harmony? Is a chain-link fence, Karen. Keeps the deer out. And last I checked, I'm not in your HOA. Her smile tightened, like a rubber band about to snap. "Oh, but you are now. The board approved the boundary adjustment for the greater good. Think of the children. Proper lines mean safer neighborhoods." She handed me a pamphlet titled, "Welcome to Oak Ridge. Rules for a Better Tomorrow," as if I were a wayward soul in need of salvation. I took it, flipped through the pages of absurdities. Bans on visible trash cans, mandatory lawn heights between 2.5 and 3 inches, and handed it back. "Thanks, but no thanks. I'll pass on the cult membership." That was my first mistake. Politeness with a side of sarcasm. Karen's eyes narrowed. "Refusal to comply could lead to liens, Mr. Rivera. We're just maintaining order." She turned on her heel, her sensible pumps clicking away like tiny judgments. I didn't respond right away. See, I'd been through the rumor mill before. In my old job, whispers about "that guy who hacks systems for fun" followed me after a harmless prank went viral. I learned to observe, document, and strike when the iron was hot. So I started a folder, emails, photos, even a timeline app on my phone. Little did I know this was just the appetizer. The escalation kicked in like a bad hangover. Week 4 brought a $1,000 fine for unauthorized landscaping. I'd planted a vegetable garden in my backyard, tomatoes and zucchinis that dared to peek over the fence. The letter read like a sermon. Such modifications require board approval to ensure they align with community values. Values? Like starving squirrels were a moral imperative? I fired back an email. Not your jurisdiction. Cease contact. Short, sweet, and apparently incendiary. Karen's response? She showed up with reinforcements. A board member named Ted. A balding accountant who nodded like a bobblehead. Alex, she said, using my first name like we were pals. This isn't personal, but if you don't pay, we'll have to escalate. Liens can lead to foreclosure. We hate to see good people lose their homes over stubbornness. I raised an eyebrow. Good people? You mean like the Johnsons down the block, who got dinged for a kiddie pool that promoted mosquito breeding? Ted shifted uncomfortably. Karen's smile didn't falter. They complied eventually. Harmony restored. I shut the door without another word. But inside, I was seething. Whispers started circulating. Neighbors murmuring that I was that antisocial type, probably hiding something illegal in that shed. Karen was a master manipulator, seeding doubt at block parties with lines like, "It's sad when newcomers don't appreciate our traditions." I stayed silent, but my folder grew thicker. Then came the morning of the cops. Blue and red lights painting my house like a disco from hell. 2 officers approached, hands hovering near holsters. "Sir, we've got a report of a squatter refusing to leave HOA property. You mind stepping out?" Across the street, Karen stood with arms folded, her expression a mix of triumph and sanctimony. I set my coffee down slowly. Officers happy to cooperate. But first, let me grab some documents. I returned with my arsenal. Deed, title, original surveys, county records showing the sneaky annexation. Laid it all out on the cruiser's hood. The lead cop, Officer Ramirez, flipped through, his brow furrowing. He pulled out his phone, checked the plat maps. "This doesn't match the report," he muttered, then turned to Karen. "Ma'am, this looks like a civil dispute, not criminal." Karen's face flushed. "But he's violating covenants. Unapproved structures." Ramirez sighed, the universal sound of a cop dealing with nonsense. "HOA rules aren't police business. Take it to court." He handed me his card. "Document everything, sir. These types can be persistent." Karen stormed off, her SUV squealing like her wounded pride. I watched her go, thinking, game on. That afternoon, I called my old college buddy, Sarah Klein, a sharp-tongued lawyer in her late 40s who'd once shredded a corporate giant in court over data privacy. "Alex, this annexation without notice? That's textbook fraud," she said over the phone, her voice crackling with glee. "Send me everything." She drafted a cease and desist that night, demanding retraction of fines and threats. I mailed it certified, imagining Karen's face as she signed for it. But Karen didn't fold. She doubled down like a gambler on tilt. She convened an emergency board meeting, painting me as a rogue element endangering the neighborhood. "This outsider threatens our way of life," she reportedly said, according to a leaked minute from a sympathetic neighbor. Her puppet board, Ted the yes man, plus 2 retirees who feared her wrath, voted to sue. Whispers turned to outright gossip. I overheard at the grocery store, heard Rivera's running an illegal business from home. Lies, courtesy of Karen's rumor factory. A young family, the Patels, confided in me over fence chats. They'd been fined $3,000 for solar panels that clashed with the roof aesthetic. An old vet named Gus nearly lost his place over ballooning fees from a missed payment during chemo. Karen wasn't just controlling. She was predatory, skimming off the top. Sarah dug into the HOA finances. "Jackpot," she texted a week later. Over $150,000 in consulting fees funneled to Karen's personal LLC. "This is embezzlement, Alex. We're countersuing for fraud and harassment." The harassment ramped up like a bad sitcom. Inspectors, hired goons in polo shirts, showed up bi-weekly, peering over fences, one even hoisting himself on my recycling bin for a better shot. "Just documenting non-compliance," he'd yell when caught. One dawn, I woke to my mailbox and shed plastered with neon orange stickers. "Violation. Remove immediately." They stuck like gum on a hot sidewalk, requiring Gougon and elbow grease to scrape off. I chuckled bitterly, Karen's tantrum in adhesive form. My neighbor, Jamal, a burly mechanic with a heart of gold, caught it on his Ring camera. "Trespassing, bro," he said over beers that night. "Time to fortify." I installed cams everywhere, motion activated, cloud synced, the works. My shed became a surveillance hub. Then the creepy text. A photo of my car at Lowe's, captioned "Eyes on you." Anonymous but traceable to a burner app. Sarah laughed when I showed her. "They're desperate. Keep cool, we're building a case." I grinned. "They think I'm rattled? I survived corporate espionage scandals. This is amateur hour." Week 8. The HOA sued, claiming the corrected map bound me to their covenants. Sarah motioned to dismiss, subpoenaing records. Cracks appeared. The annexation was bogus. No public hearing required by law. Worse, the HOA was drowning in debt. A $1 million loan for a fancy gazebo and tennis courts, unpaid for 2 years. The bank was foreclosing. Sarah called late one night. "Sit down, Alex. If you buy the common areas at auction, state law lets you dissolve the HOA if they're insolvent." My mind raced. Let's make it happen. I tapped savings, borrowed from my sister in Cali, and launched a GoFundMe. End HOA Tyranny in Oak Ridge. It exploded $200K in days, fueled by Reddit threads and viral tweets. HOA horror stories poured in. Apparently, everyone hates these mini dictatorships. Auction day. Karen arrived in a power suit, glaring like a scorned villain. The auctioneer droned, opening at $800,000. I bid $825,000. Crickets. Sold. Holding the deed felt like holding Excalibur. Sarah hooped. "You own their playground now, Alex. Congrats, landlord." Karen's desperation peaked. An injunction claiming theft of assets. Judge tossed it in minutes. Then her mask slipped. She spun fake social media accounts, accusing me of being a shady developer plotting to flip the hood. Jamal traced the IPs to her address. We leaked to the press. HOA boss busted in online smear fest. The tide turned. Neighbors rallied. 15 families formed a group, sharing tales in backyards. Bogus fines, intimidation, foreclosures that smelled fishy. Sarah uncovered the big one. Board members, including Karen, used HOA cash to snag 3 distressed homes cheap, flipping them for profit. Racketeering city. We filed RICO charges. Karen sensed doom. She appeared at my door one rainy morning, disheveled, no makeup armor. "Alex, please," she whimpered. "Dissolving the HOA ruins me. My career, my standing." I leaned in. "Funny, you didn't care about ruining the Patels or Gus. Community standards, right?" Tears streaked. "It's for the greater good." "No," I said softly. "It's for your wallet." Court day. Packed gallery, reporters salivating. Karen dragged in a green lawyer who stammered objections from outdated precedents. Sarah laid it bare. Fraud, insolvency, illegal acts. Karen erupted. "Your Honor, this man's a manipulator. He doesn't belong." Judge banged the gavel. "Sit down, Ms. Whitaker." Then the door swung open. DA's detective with warrants. Embezzlement, fraud, conspiracy. Cuffs clicked. Karen wailed. "You destroyed me." I stayed silent. Karma speaks louder. Judge ruled. HOA dissolved. Sarah as receiver. Cheers erupted. Outside, mics thrust. "How's it feel to topple the tyrant?" "It's about reclaiming freedom," I said. That night, Jamal brought Bruce. She thought she was queen. Turns out, just a thief with a gavel complex. We laughed till dawn. Ripples spread. 2 bored cronies arrested. One sang like a canary. News cycles hammered HOA reform. A bill dubbed Rivera's Reform hit the legislature. We reborn the remnants as Oak Ridge Community Coop. Nonprofit, transparent. Dues slashed from $400 to $50. Streamed meetings, no more petty rules. We repainted the gazebo vibrant, hosted a town hall. I spoke. I came for solitude, got siege. But we built better. Slides showed old budgets, missing funds, lavish expenses, versus new, accountable. Applause thundered. Sarah announced, foreclosed families reclaimed homes with payouts. Gus teared up, thought I'd die homeless. Standing O. The meeting morphed into a fiesta. Grills, tunes, kids frolicking sans fine fears. Irony? Karen's old showcase gazebo now pulsed with genuine community. Months on, the coop thrived. Garden plots yielding bounty, scholarships for local youth. I funded the first teaching coding in my office to a budding engineer. Karen pled guilty. 2 years inside, restitution, banned from boards. Her McMansion foreclosed to a family fleeing. Another HOA. Me? I host workshops. Jamal drops by with 6-packs. Porch sunsets. He asks, regret the fight? Never. Victories and waves. Hello. Fearless laughs. A hood healed. So, tell me, in a world where order masks oppression, is fighting back rebellion or righteousness? Drop your take. Did Karen deserve her fall? Or was she just doing her job?